Hello. In this video, I will show you how to configure the Gmail node in Makyo to control your Gmail account directly from the Makyo website. So we will go through multiple different actions that we can do in Gmail, and we'll start with the send email action. Let me show you the workflow. So first, you have to set the credentials for Gmail, and you can do that directly here by clicking Add Account and then authorizing the account using the OAuth connection that is available in this plugin. Then you need to fill the configuration, so which email is the recipient that will get the message. You can put copy, a hidden copy as well. You can add the subject using plain text as well as data from the inputs, and the body in the same way using a combination of plain text and dynamic data that's coming from the database or from previous sources of the workflow. You can also choose whether to use a HTML body or not. Once that's done, you can test directly the workflow by clicking on play. And you can see here that we have a valid workflow and we get an email ID and thread ID as an output. We will verify in Gmail and we can see, if we refresh the page, that we should have received an email just right now. And indeed, you can see that we just received this email. So now let's move on to the second one, which is create draft action. So here we have a Gmail create draft node. It's connected automatically using the same credential. We use the same mailbox, and we have a simple subject and simple body. We can test the connector directly here with the test button, and we can see the result. So we get the ID of the draft and the thread ID of the draft. And we can verify in Gmail, in our drafts. Yeah, we can see that there is a draft that was created and ready to send. This is very useful when you have workflows where you don't want full automation and you want only the draft to be created and then validated by a human before being sent. So let's go back to Makyo and now moving on to the third example, which is list message, and which will query the mailbox with a Gmail query. So in this case, we use the query is unread, meaning that we will filter only the messages that are not read in the mailbox, and we will put a limit of 25. So let's test it, and we can see indeed that we get the results. And now, last one is reply to message. So I want to show you here in preview mode what we get if we click here on run. You can see that we get an error. We have a few details, but let's take a look why this didn't work. So first, why did you see this error on the previous page? This is because we have a catch-all error system called onWorkflowError, which catches all of the errors that are linked to any workflow, to this particular workflow in this case. And we put an alert banner, which shows the details of the error that you can find here in error info. And that's how you can easily debug your workflows by using this technique to make the errors visible. So let's go back to the Gmail node. This time we used reply to message, but the issue is the message ID wasn't properly filled because there is nothing before this node. So we cannot get the relevant ID of the message that we want to reply to. So what we'll do here is that we'll need to add something before the reply to message. And we'll add a node that we've seen previously, which is the list message node. And we'll use the same query, is unread, but we'll get only one message out of this node. So let's test it. And we get one message, we get the ID, and that's what we want to retrieve. Now, the only issue we have is that this is an array. This is not just a single string of text. So as you can see in the next node, if we go to node outputs, we cannot retrieve this message because it's an array. So we'll need to loop over this message to extract the data that is inside the array. So let's put a for each loop here. We'll keep the default and we will iterate on the output of the previous node, which is the message array. And we'll connect our reply to message node. So now within reply to message, we can extract from the loop item section the ID that we need. We save. And then if we try to play again, then this time you can see it works. And let's go back to Gmail to verify. And you can see indeed that we just received a reply to the previous message that was unread in the mailbox, which was the last unread message. So this worked perfectly. All right, so I hope that this gave you a sense of how to use some simple actions in Gmail, but as you will see when you will explore further, there is much more actions which operate pretty much the same way. So you can send, you can get message, list message, add labels, you can get drafts, list drafts, create labels, and etc. So pretty much handle the whole options that you can have in Gmail and manage the whole mailbox.